Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Dawn Wellness Monthly Conversation. Thank you so much for being here. I am Rob Rice, the host, and we are going to have an amazing conversation tonight. Tonight, we are going over the topic of what is early trauma and how can we truly heal from this inside out. We are going to talk about a little bit about neuroscience in mind and heart. So we'll have this introduction, okay? And then Oren shares his thoughts. We're going to have a Q&A session with Oren as well. So if you have questions about the actual conversation that's being held, then let us know, okay? You can leave questions throughout. However, we do have and hold a space for that in a 3-minute break for you, okay? And we'll actually let you know when that is. We will be emailing you this presentation if you would so want, and feel free to be fully present in this conversation. This conversation is recorded as well. We want to share this out to as many people as possible. So we just want to let you know that too. So without further ado, we are going to get into this. I am excited for you to meet Oren. And if you've already met Oren, you know why I'm excited. Please join me in welcoming someone whose extraordinary journey spans over 25 years as a trusted therapist and influential actors, top directors, and iconic musicians. Beyond the therapy room, he's raced cars and motorcycles professionally, served in elite military units, and studied quantum physics. As an international speaker and founder of New Dawn Wellness, he brings cutting-edge neuroscience research to organizations worldwide. His revolutionary approach transforms leadership, not through fear and control, but through authentic human connection and psychological safety. He believes we are all born to thrive by coming home to what's been true, heart to heart and human to human. Please welcome Oren. Hi, Oren.
Thank you for coming, guys, from all over the world. I am talking to you right now from Southeast Asia, so the usual background is different. And I welcome everyone from all over the world. I know we have people from the US, of course, and from Europe and Asia. And I'm welcoming all of you. So I don't say good morning or good evening. I'm just welcoming all that you came and attending this meeting. We have a brief time, so the topics that we're talking about today are going to be vast and deep. We won't be able to go deep into every one of them, but we will offer, starting I think next year, early next year, we will offer in-depth conversations and experiences about the topics that I mentioned and way more. With that said, I want to just set up kind of the tone for the evening or the morning or wherever you are, and ask you guys to come and rest with me today. I know there's going to be information that you want to absorb, but really most important to me is kind of that we are together today in calm, and the vibration underneath that and the love and kindness is more important than anything else. If you can be with that and just soak that kind energy, that's my purpose. The rest will follow that. So in order to get to this zone, let's just kind of close our eyes for a second. Just get yourself settled a bit and put your feet on the ground and I invite you guys to rest with me. Simply rest with me today. To let go of the day or to wake up into a new dawn, a new morning, and just kind of relax and put your feet on the floor again and feel comfortable in your chair and take a big breath. Inhale and exhale all the worries and all the fatigue and the stress from the world. It's not easy for us to be on planet Earth. It's a lot of stress for everyone, however you are and wherever you are. And we always used to compare who's better and who's worse. It's just different. But we all in the human experience. So it's not easy for us. Let yourself go. Let yourself rest in this hour and not worry about anything and not try to even learn anything other than just be open. The rest will come with that. And just like spend like a minute or two just in quiet. And try to quiet your mind a bit. And just let go and give yourself a permission just to rest. Put your attention on your breath and just not thinking about the breath, but your attention on the breath, and just see how it feels when you breathe. Does it feel shallow? Is it fast? Is your thoughts coming to your mind constantly? Which is okay. It's all good. Just be kind to that. No judgment. And if you judge, just acknowledge that. That's okay. We all do that. You're not doing anything wrong. There is no right or wrong. It just is. And embrace that with love. Take another big breath in. And as you breathe in, just breathe a lot of life and kindness and soak the love that there is in the air all the time. And breathe out all the thing, all the stress, all the burden, all the ache, all the pain. Breathe it out. Let it out. Good. Can just all open our eyes right now and get back to the room. And hello again, everyone. Now I'm looking at you two guys, even though I cannot see you, but I'm looking at you. And we can start, right? So, Robert, we have the first thought. There you go. So I think the first thing that we're going to try to talk about is what is early trauma versus PTSD. In previous conversations, I talked a little bit about that, and we will then again offer much in-depth courses about that. What is important for me to tell you is to tell you the differences and why it matters. So when we talk about PTSD, think about I'll just be blunt and tell you. Say, think about you are in kind of like a football field, and you are all of a sudden get hit hard in the head and you have a concussion. So what it is basically, we are usually feel or think that the world is safe. It is a good mechanism. It's a good protection mechanism that we go around the world. You go driving your car, you're flying, you're actually at home and sleeping and don't think that anything will fall on you, or you don't think that you're going to go out and you're going to have a car accident. The percentages shows that are going to be, I think, every each and one of us who's driving going to have 2 to 3 at least accidents in our lives. So imagine that we had that in mind and constantly feared about that, we would just not drive, you know, or we wouldn't go out because things can happen at any moment. So there is a protection layer around us, that keeps us safe. It's kind of almost like a healthy denial, if you may. It's like we kind of like we have to survive and we have to operate and we cannot think about all the dangers in the world. So there is a layer of protection that keeps us safe. Now things happen. Sometimes they're small and they're painful, but they're predictable, and sometimes they are vicious. Like then again, a car accident, rape, molestation, something really hard at getting in, like a baseball bat in your head, basically causing you a concussion that just gets you disorganized, almost like try to kind of like uh, smash the scalp. All our protection or our well-being, that protection, that layer of protection, that the safety that we have is basically compromised at that point of time, and that's why we have like a brain injury in a way. This is more like a PTSD. It's like we have already the structure of who we are, and then there is a violent event or events, or even a little bit prolonged events that are causing that constant injury to be reopened. The different side of it is early trauma. Early trauma is PTSD is trauma, but early trauma, imagine that the brain or who we are was actually not developed to be cohesive, to be not in terms of the parts that there are there, but in terms of mental health. We were not grown. For example, we could grow and be in adults, but inside we're just little kids. So that comes from early trauma. If we didn't get what we needed in order to develop independence, individuality, And I'm not talking about I am going to right now, I cannot trust anybody, I'm going to be by myself. That doesn't mean that if inside you're independent. You might not want to be dependent, because if you were dependent on somebody, you got hurt, or you got abandoned, or you didn't get all the nutrients that you needed in order to develop sense of safety. So you go away from that. And you might think, I'm right now, I'm independent, I'm doing everything by myself. But inside, that kid never grew and just scared all the time. So you might avoid, to be in relationship, because relationship might be not something that you could trust based on your experiences. The experiences with our caregivers, it doesn't have to be, usually it's the parents, but it doesn't have to be the parents. Whoever that raised us, whoever that we are touched. Coming to mind right now, videos that I used to see, like recently I saw a bunch of little lions that are basically nursed from a dog, actually. And the dog became their parent. And as they grew, the dog, they thought that the dog is a lion. They thought it's the parents. They were attached to the dog. But the dog provided them, whether it's a dog or it's the lion that was supposed to be there, that adult, so to speak, could give them what they need, and there is developing attachment between them, emotional attachment. Whether it was good or bad depends on the one that provides the attachment. Now, the one that provides the attachment, the mom, the dad, had also trauma or early trauma. We all have it to different ways, to different degrees. Nobody's perfect, and that's okay. But whoever is raising us can give us only what they have, not what they want, but what they have. So, for example, if mom or dad, let's say mom, because mom initially is the one that actually bonding with the child, let's say that she's very anxious because she experienced trauma from her parents, and her parents experienced trauma from her parents, from their parents. It's a multi-generational thing. Then doesn't stop that trauma because we want to stop it. It stops if we have a co-regulation or we have attachment with somebody that actually can provide us what we want. Now, early trauma develops from literally zero, and even the utero. Because let's say that mom was anxious or depressed or drinking or whatever it is, that immediately permeates into the fetus. Now, if mom is calm, then the kiddo inside can also, rest over there, even though they're not developed, but can they feel the vibration? That same mom is that mom or dad or whoever brought us up are the same people. Unless they take care of their own internal wounds, that's not going to change. So their intention to give us what they need doesn't mean that they're capable of give us what they need. And it's not because they're bad, it's because they try, but they don't have it within them. For example, if mom is very, very anxious, and she's very much, if she's anxious herself, she's probably want to protect her kid constantly, but she might be overprotective and not let the kid go on his own and become a person on his own. She constantly be going, what are you doing? What are you doing? Is he okay? Is he okay? What's going to happen is she wants good for her son because she's worried, but her trauma about worrying transferred at that point to the child. That worry, because she's the same person inside, unless then again she changes gradually with the process of therapy, because it doesn't work because she decided to do that. It changes with it co-regulation. You have to have somebody outside your system in order to what we call the neuroplasticity, which is one brain affects the other, one heart affects the other. We cannot do that from our system. What we do in order to, so many times when we don't trust others because of our previous experiences, we are trying to self-soothe ourselves. We try to regulate ourselves. While it's working as a band-aid, it doesn't really change much inside because you have to be nurtured. You cannot think about, I'm drinking water, I'm drinking water. So you can imagine that you drink water, but you actually need water in order to be okay. The same thing goes with mental health. Early trauma, though, it is basically how it is basically formed. So if you had what we call in neuropsychology or in interpersonal neurobiology, implicit memories, which is the sum of the experience that you had until now. What it means that if I grew up with an anxious mom, and let's say I am smart guy, left brain smart, and knows that it's all I'm worried about something that I shouldn't worry, it was in the past. Why is it coming to the present? What came from the past and accumulated and formed us to be who we are today is what actually came from all then and there to the here and now. So if we never able to individuate because we're never allowed to, not because they didn't want them. If mom just kept you with a leash, any kind of a leash, a horrible leash with a whip or protective leash, you know, you're not going to grow to become a whole. And thus you kind of basically go as outside, even you're adult, with anxiety, with depression, with addiction. This is where all the elements developing. They're not developing because something is wrong with you. It develops because you're missing something or you experience something that actually traumatized you. And then again, it's not a one bang, just like PTSD, that actually penetrates what you already have and shattered it. It's more like how you were shaped and how you were brought up. And that's why early age is important. Not because you kind of want to feel sorry for yourself, because it's actually you experience the symptoms in the here and now. These are the two major differences between early trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder. Both of them are meant with actually can heal, and there is a lot of hope with that, but in a very different way that most people think. It's not taking a course about this and learned about that. So many times I went to study psychology because I knew that I didn't trust anyone. And I only trusted myself. I just couldn't really trust anyone, even though I would say that I trust somebody. Deeply inside, I didn't know what to trust because my relationship with my parents, with the people that I put my well-being, is to be most vulnerable, abandoned me and hurt me. So why would I trust anybody else? So it's not about wishful thinking. Now, here's the problem. So many times we can't trust, but it's exactly what we need. Sounds like, oh my God, impossible. It's a constantly closed loop where you choose people that you're familiar with or how they work, like you think what you need is what you're going to get, ending up choosing the same thing in a different door. So it's like, how did I end up having the same experience that I just tried to avoid? There is much more to say about both that you can imagine, but we will try to proceed because we will talk about it way more when we do the in-depth courses. So if you're interested to get to this and understanding more and experience something different, we will provide that. And if you don't, just take those words and seek for a good co-regulation. A good co-regulation would be a good therapy because a therapist doesn't need anything from you. They are there for you without anything back. Yes, you pay them for the service, but you don't pay them to care about for the care or anything. There's this is all about you, and they can provide you if they're healthy enough themselves. By the way, so therapists can be very much unhealthy, just like anybody else, if they didn't do the work themselves. You know, going and study psychology doesn't make you a good psychologist. It makes you just knowing about that in the left brain. And as we're just rolling right now about the role of the brain hemispheres, I will take that as an example, as a segue, to say that let's say that I went to and I was very wounded myself because my early trauma. And I couldn't trust anyone, so I thought, I'm going to help others actually. A lot of us are doing that. We have a kind heart, maybe, but at the same time, it's a protection because it's easier to help others than to look at your own wounds. A lot of therapists in the healing professions and any kind of profession of providing health or mental health or physical even health are it's an easy way to get away from your own trauma. The problem is that if I am a therapist that didn't take care of my trauma, I'm doing the same thing that my parents did to me. I'm supposed to be the father that knows everything, but at the same time, I cannot really co-regulate everyone if I'm anxious. So I need to take care of my anxiety too and to heal the wounds inside me in order to actually be there for others, to be a better parent, not because of good or bad, but because more capable. It just won't rattle me as much as it rattled my mom, so I can be there for others. Because if I'm anxious and I already the only thing that I know is like the part of psychology that I learned, it won't matter. It won't change a thing. It will be just another course that you take of self regulation because I won't be able to be there for you the way you need, even though I might study psychology and understand why. This is why I offer you today is to listen with your heart rather than with your just brain and to understand what I'm saying. Is to hear my kindness, hopefully, that permeates towards you, because that's actually what really changes things. So when I went to study psychology, I wanted to understand more in order to help myself. right? Just like so many of us doing that in that way or another. We're going to study that. Now I understand. Now I need to do this and this and this. So I studied psychology. When I graduated, when I finished grad school, I just realized I'm wounded the same, and even understood how much I am. But I also understood at that point of time that I need to start therapy. And I started therapy that's lasted years because it does take time. It is not a left brain thing. When we look at the left brain hemisphere, it's more like, then again, a laser beam, a path that we can understand. If you look at the forest and you see a couple of paths, then you can say, okay, I can choose this, this, and this. This is how the left brain would work. It will process information. Now, the forest is big. If you actually don't work with only your left brain, but with your right brain, which is more like the open quantum field, the open fields are everything, the forest is huge. There's not only one path. The path that we see, or the path that we see, there are three of them. It's one, two, and three or four, what we see. We can choose between them with our left brain. We're going to choose to do this one. But think how much of the forest we miss. And we might have, if we could be open to the forest and to see the whole forest, we would say, I'm going to curve my own forest because actually I don't like this one. That's more involved the right brain. So the right brain is more like the open fields of emotion, of capability, of seeing the reality that actually doesn't exist. We create the reality, but we see the open field that is around us is unlimited. So many times people can imagine many of us here, if not all of us, experience anxiety and depression, for example. You know you don't want to stay in bed. It's hard. You want to go out and have fun. You want to function. You want to be there for yourself, for others. You don't have the energy. So in a way, you choose to be in bed, right? But you don't choose. It's just the energy of that, the pain, the wounds, the fatigues that come with depression, just keeps you the way you are, and they render you completely helpless. It's not a cognitive decision from the left brain. It's the wounds inside that resides both in right and left, but mostly on the right, that are speaking in a way. They pull them back. So no matter what decisions we're making in that point of time, we can just do all the exercise of cognitive behavioral tells like think positive. It's just that get up or force yourself. You might be able to do that, but in reality, it won't really change anything about the depression. What would change the depression is somebody came to you and rather than tell you get your butt out of bed or just do that, it's not good for you, is to actually be and hold your hand and say, how can I be there for you? Or tell me how you are. Without trying to change it, just to be there for them. We are so often trying to change things not in the way that are changeable because that's how we know how to do things. We're kind of in a left brain shift society when we do things a lot rather than being. So if we do a lot rather than being, we don't get what we need. We will develop, and that's what happened to us might have been in the past, that we weren't exactly what our parents needed us to be at that point of time, rather than them listening to what we needed at that point of time. And just to make it clear, our parents experience it from their parents, and the only way to change them is not to try to be different, but to actually to seek the right help, the right co-regulation. Because then again, what neuroplasticity say about the brain is that the brain is constantly moldable. Even though the brain was shaped long time ago and it kind of hardened, like just like you work with clay or anything that wet at the beginning and then you kind of shape it and then it hardens. That's what happened in early life, you know, and also early trauma. It depends how it's shaped. Is was it shaped in the way that is it whole or we got something what we didn't get, it got abandoned. It's shaped the way it is and it hardens. That doesn't mean that it's hopeless. That doesn't mean it's not going to change. It can change throughout life. There is a lot of hope. It really is. I'm not trying to tell you right now, hey, do this and do that, it will change. What I'm trying to tell you is how to get to that place. And that place will be different from me to any one of you. We all need different things. In order to get that, though, we need to be in tune with the other person's needs. In order to be in tune with other person's needs, we first of all need to heal ourselves because otherwise we will try to get the other person or they'll try to get us to where they feel that we need to be. I hope it makes sense. That brings me to early attachment and why it matters. So we are born completely helpless, right? Kids of all mammals are dependent on their parents. We are not going to survive without that. We need their food, we need warmth, we need all of that. You all know that. Now, many people think that if they got, I speak to many people, obviously, so many people say, I had a really nice home. We had food on the table, we had everything, we have even more than that. My dad worked, my mom worked, she get us all the food. Seems like really okay. So why do I feel that way? What's wrong about me? My parents never even probably hit me or something like that. Let's say that it all seems to be okay. So what's wrong with me? Well, that's where the attachment styles what's the quality of the relationship between you and the person that you're attached to, how it was basically. Then again, my mom wanted to give me, just like so many moms and dad, parents want the best for their kids, I know, but they can give them and provide them what they know. They cannot provide me something that is not familiar to their experiences, not to their knowledge, to their experience. You might read a lot of things that make sense to you, yet do exactly what was done to you again. And then it's like, why do I do that over again? Because that's where the wounds speak. The wounds are stronger than our left brain. The experience that we had need to change by different experiences, not the experience that we have from our system. This is just like basically, then again, a band-aid. You think about like, I'm so thirsty, so I should do this and this and this to get the water that I need because I couldn't get it from them. I wouldn't trust anybody that could give me water, so I trust myself. Yet you are doing that from your own system. You need to get to a water well to get water in order to start healing those wounds. And the good thing that no matter what the wounds created and what kind of attachment styles, we're talking about people that grow up to be very anxious in relationship and constantly fear abandonment. They really want to be attached because we all need that, and they didn't get that, but they're so anxious because they got anxiety attachment. And that's how the relationship looking once they enter intimate relationship or any kind of relationship. There are avoidance styles relationship, people that are avoidant, people that basically just like, I'm doing me, I'm just independent, I don't want anything from anyone, I'm good, because they develop protection from being hurt. It comes from a place where you probably cannot trust that if you're getting in, that you're going to be okay. What your implicit memories tells you, your some of the experience that you had from your caregivers, from all the people that came after, because that's what you chose. You chose the same thing that you had, whether you want or not. It's an unconscious process. So that's the world that you see. That's what it is. Why would I get into a relationship that I know that I'm gonna get hurt? So I don't need that. So you think you're independent, but at the same time, you're not really nurtured. You're living an island. You're detached from your own feelings, or you want to enter a relationship because you really want it. At the same time, once you get into the intimacy, you'll go away. There is this organized attachment, which is very chaotic. It's all kind of very emotional, very disorganized kind of experiences, something that you might have had at home. Sometimes it's safe, sometimes all of a sudden it's not. It's all over the place, all over the place, just exhausting you, exhausting the people around you, and you don't even know where to start, how to calm that down. Actually, it would have calmed down, it will calm down, and it will mend it if you had somebody kind of just holding all of that for you and with you. So gradually all the pieces that went awry and just split off like islands are going to start coming together. That will happen with kind attendance, with love and kindness and understanding, rather than tell me, oh my God, you're all over the place, or you're getting in, and when you get in, you want to get out, and then you feel the shame and they suffer. It's an ongoing thing that you just don't even know what to do with that, just rendering you so helpless. This is why we need help of somebody holding us, just like babies are. Babies are very disorganized. They're born disorganized. They sometimes, 1 second they need some things, one time they sleep, all of a sudden they wake up and smile. Another time, out of the blue, start crying. You don't even know why. Think about a mom that is actually not only understand it in her left brain, in her computer, so to speak, but she actually understands that that's how baby are, and she's capable of holding them at any point of time without throwing her frustration on them. Now, moms doesn't want to do that. She wants to be there for a child. But imagine the mom is very depressed herself and she has nothing to give. It's not easy to, those that are parents, it's not easy. You basically can sometimes barely take care of yourself, and you need to take care of another really needy person, and they do need. How can you give them if you're so tired, you're so depressed, and they're constantly screaming in your ear, and they need to that? If as much as you love them, eventually it's just like, go away from me. I don't want to see you. And I know that parents don't usually talk about that, but sometimes parents is like, I don't want to see you right now. I love you, but you just like can't. I just need to breathe. This is the importance of having, like, now imagine that mom is constantly working on her regulation by being regulated by somebody else. Maybe dad at that point can actually hold mom, so mom can help the child hold. I'm talking not physically, I'm talking about emotionally. So we constantly have to see how much we are available inside in our container, and the container will be the right part, even though both parts of the brain are actually doing both. But the right brain mode, where the limbic system is, the emotional parts, is actually more vacant and more available. And think about times that you were actually more available to be able to be with your kids and or with others or with anything else, how much more clear you were to actually accept the information, to internalize the information. And other times when you're not, you just don't even know, you just don't even know where you are. You just don't cannot do anything. It's so hard because almost there is a tsunami that comes and covers the house, which is the left brain, so to speak. It cannot operate. So, in order to get what we need somebody that is available. Now, we can't be perfect. It's okay. We make mistakes. There's a process of fracture of repair, which we will talk in different talks, which is so important. The fracture and repair, I'll just mention it. We are going to have arguments. We are going to have faults. We are going to fight. It's all good. It's okay. It's nothing wrong with that. But it must be a safety where we know by experience that if we go right now and we don't solve it, that we come back and repair it. If that mechanism is healthy, and I will talk about it then in different times, how to do that and why is it so important, then there is healthy relationship. Healthy relationships are not perfect, guy. It doesn't mean that you need to be perfect. We are not perfect. None of us. Doesn't mean that what I tell you right now, then I know that you don't know I'm a therapist and I mean that I'm perfect. I'm making mistakes. I'm sometimes tired when I want to be there for my clients or for everybody else, just like any parent. But it doesn't mean that I don't care. At the same time, I can hold myself. I mean, I have much more capacity because the therapy that I've done for myself, not because of anything that I studied. So I basically got a different mom in a way that I had, not better mom, just more capable mom, that were able to raise my kid inside in a way that wasn't before. And through that process of attendance, kind attendance at all times, the wound starts to heal. They starts to change. It's not if, it's just happening seamlessly all the time. Then again, it's not like 1 + 1 = 2, and then it's solved. You cannot take a medicine to heal that, including antidepressant or anything like that. That's only for the symptoms. The wounds would heal by somebody else that is more capable of let us grow inside in a way that our attachment, we won't be attached to the same people or invite to ourselves the same people with the same attachment styles that we had. That will happen actually. Because imagine then it's like a lock and a key. The lock, the key that we were molded into will find the same lock, the same entry to open up that door. It won't go to locks that it won't open. We need to change the key in order to find the different lock. Then all of a sudden, all the quantum field will open you. The forest will open up for you, not to look for a certain path that people tell you to walk into because that worked for them, or they want you to walk in that path, but it will open up the field for you to say, curve your path. And they will be there for you to curve your path. You don't send a kid to the forest and try to be, to enter the forest and just, go, it'll be okay. You actually give them their hand and say, let's go and see what you want to explore, where you want to be. I'll be there by your side. So many times where people that try to help us, try to give us advice, or do this or do that, that's amazing. That it worked for them. They're very different people. Actually, the people that can care about you will allow you to choose your path because they're okay. They don't need you to do what they did. They might recommend that, that's fine. But they won't force you or be upset or that. On the contrary, they will release you because they know who you are. Now they can allow you to be. That's actually real love. This is real love and care. Is that you are okay, you got what you need, and now you want to allow others to be and to choose their own way, even if it was very different than yours. Now, all of us grew up with the different assumptions of how the world is safe or not safe, or what you do and what's not safe. It's all our experiences. Somebody else can come and tell you, I did this or I'm like that, and you're also like, oh my God, that's horrible. You better try to ask yourself why you're reacting that way. See why you react. If you react strongly to people who are different than you or behave different, and I'm not talking about like a behavior that is hurting others. Let's say that you grew up with your parents that didn't like tattoos, for example, and all of a sudden you want to be with somebody that tattoo, and you see him or her and you say like, oh, I like him so much, but I really don't like those tattoos, and that will be something that will just not even let you enter in. Tattoos are not bad. It might be that your parents didn't like it and send you messages. This is, oh my God, it's associated with people that are, I don't know, gang members or whatever it is. Even gang members doing tattoos because they sometimes needs to be affiliated with a group that feels safe to them because their family wasn't. Not that it ends up well for them, but I'm just trying to say, look at the bigger picture. We all have assumptions of why things are good or bad, and they usually have much more history than you think. you know so if you see somebody, for example, in the road with a road rage, you just kind of like, screaming and all that, and you're just like, oh my God, I just think this is a horrible, it's a very dangerous person. Now it could be dangerous and you might be staying away, but usually when I see that, I see like, oh my God, this person is just not happy right now, and I just feel sorry for them. Not pity, sorry. I mean, they're just suffering. Imagine you would be in this situation. We all been in this situation you know so many things are much more neutral that we are actually think, and the way we think about the world has to do with the attachments to the people that we got the nutrition from. And sometimes they say, this is good, this is bad, don't go here because that's dangerous, and here is dangerous. And they kept you at home not experiencing anything because they want to protect you, and they put you in jail, basically different jail. The other side of it is kids that just couldn't really stay at the jail at home and just run away to be independent before they could even be mature. Nobody took care of them. And it's a kid just wandering around the world trying to figure it out. And you might be capable of going to places and being independent, but inside it's that kid just confused and doesn't even know who he is or she is. You know? That's another jail. It's not freedom. Some of us feel and think that we're free, we can do whatever we want, but inside we're prisoners of our previous experiences, young experience, early experience that never really changed. The message is we can change with finding and trust your gut also. I know that we have the experiences sometimes are the glasses from which we see the world and we attract. It feels like this is safe. For example, let's say that you had I don't know, a mom that was tiny and there was no dad, and all of a sudden, like you feel like I'm going to have a partner that is strong. This is what I need for my safety. That's what you needed as a kid, but it might be that that's what you think that you need is actually you're going to overlook on any other things that that person is, and you're going to realize that later on that, oh my God, that's not the person that I thought that I needed, because you couldn't really look at something that you first of all looked for safety and what you thought would give you safety, a strong person that will hold me and will protect me in case something happens. But they actually abandon you on a regular basis. They're not capable emotionally being with you. In order to change the glasses from which we view the world internally, we need to first of all have different experiences. And that comes with the regulation of somebody that is capable. This is how the brain gradually have different experiences, and we're curving different grooves, different neural pathways in the brain that actually would change our experience from that on. Once it changes inside, and it's not like either or. It's like, imagine then again, there was a path in the forest that was already pre-made, and that was how you told where to go, which is not your path and doesn't lead you anyway. If you get the right attendance and love and kindness, then all of a sudden, from being a scared little kid, you kind of internalize somebody, I'm safe right now. So all of a sudden your eyes are open, You look at the forest, it's like, oh my God, this is like a huge forest. And actually, I want to go and see what's happening there. You're going to curve your own. And it has to be your own. It can't be anybody else. People often ask me, like, tell me what should I do? And I tell it, that's not my role to tell you what to do. I can tell you what to do, but it won't matter actually. Because what will happen if I tell them what to do is I don't really take care of them. I do that because I think that that would work for them. If I did that, it would work for them. That's not true. It might work for me, and I tell them eventually. I can tell them what I would do, but I just really want to ask, what do you think that you want to do? How you feel that you want to do? And so many times they'll tell me, I don't know. I said, okay, let's be with that. We know that you don't know. That's something that we know, right? This is something about you. It's not bad. Why would you know if nobody ever asked you? That paves the way to open up and start seeing really who you are. You may never had a chance to develop who you are. You may think that this is what I do this, I do this. It's like, that's not who you are, that's what you do. And you might even do that because of safety rather than what you really want to do. You might have not know that. That requires attendance and just opening questions and listening and not try to rush to solve anything, just being with. If you are listening and being with somebody, they will gradually allow themselves to open up inside and start search for themselves with the safety of somebody there for them. How are you doing with the time, Rob? We're late. I know. Much more to say, but I will stop here because I want to allow some questions. And Rob, maybe we'll take a little, like a 5 minutes break so we can actually come back. I know we're kind of stressed with time, but I'd like you to take your heart that is really possible to change inside. And I'm talking from my experience. I'm not saying right now anything from anything that I learned. I can also back it up from neuropsychology and psychology and from quantum physics and everything else. And we will discuss that in our courses, in different courses, which I would advise you to look and see if, because that will provide you a much deeper experience. It is possible to change so many times, not the way we were taught how to. It's basically simple. It's love, kindness, and just somebody else for us with kind attendance that we soak in and we can be there for them at the same time. Rob, back to you right now.
Thanks, Oren. That was fascinating information, and I really appreciate it. Absolutely. And so we are going to take about a 3 to 5 minute break. And in that time, think about different questions that you have for Oren on the different topics that he's covered today. And like he said, he's going to cover a lot more in more depth in the future. So be sure, if you want to catch all of the newer conversations, to drop your email in the chat to sign up for that as well. All right, so let's go for the actual 3 minute break, and we'll be right back. Thank you. All right, Oren, hello again.
We are back.
Yes, absolutely. So, Oren, I actually have a question for you right away.
Let's do that.
Okay, so uh, you talked about the two right and left hemispheres, right? So,
Mhm.
with that, when you are overloaded, when you're stressed out, what is a good way to actually have that equilibrium again? So when you're around your family and you just can't take it anymore, what is it where you can actually regulate? What's a good way to regulate that?
So when that comes, when it comes to the place when you feel really overloaded, overstressed, or anxious, that's something that you can do. First of all, you need to kind of, what I kind of suggest to people to do is actually see when you get to a place, you have to be mindful of yourself. You have to recognize that you are in stress because you're in it. If you're in it and you don't recognize that you're in it and you're just stressed, you render helpless. You're completely helpless. What we can do at that point of time is actually insert like a pop-up all of a sudden, like stop. And when you stop, it's what we called it in mindfulness, meta. Meta is basically awareness of the awareness. So you're basically aware of what's happening right now. Let's say that I meditate And I just find myself just like so many others, and we all, not all, but many people did meditation and just like start meditating, and they have in mind that they have to quiet their mind, but the mind is not quieting. So you kind of, oh, something is wrong with me. I'm not doing it right. You're doing it absolutely right. But what happens is that you expect something that it shouldn't. So that doesn't happen because the brain needs to right now speak to you. What you want to do is put the awareness that's like, I'm right now, my mind is busy. And it's a non judgmental presence, basically. You're saying to yourself, I'm right now thinking about all the laundry list that I have to do tomorrow rather than do the meditation. But in a way, if you're just aware of that, you just develop awareness of what's happening right now, it cancels that. It basically, you give yourself permission to be exactly how you are. Why I'm mentioning this example is that if you are overly stressed, let's say with your family, and you start feeling yourself that you're just in a emotional overload and you don't like it and you're stressed and you're angry or whatever it is, it can come different kind of feelings. It can be like, you're just really angry and you want to just come back, which will never create any good cycle, right? If you react, they will react. That's not how things heal. So you can say by yourself, like, I'm out of here right now. How out of here right now? You can say to yourself, I understand that. If I need to stay, at least I'm protecting myself right now. I know what's happening. You're there for yourself right now at that point of time. Or you can actually say, stop sign and say, like, whoa, 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 it just flashes and say, like, this is just too much. Just like, if like is rising and it tells you to stop the engine, it's the same thing. You basically need to stop the engine right now to accelerate because the engine will blow. So the right thing to do is to see this flashlight inside you and say, okay, I got that. I'm right now in a danger zone. Take an action at that point of time to disengage in that way or another. You do have that choice as an adult, especially not as kids. That's the problem with kids. We were in the mercy of others. We couldn't get away from that. Now we can actually get the water down enough not to get to a zone which would render us completely helpless or doing things that we would regret later that will hurt others and ourselves. You can always disengage and go away. You are free to do that. You're not a kid anymore. You might be a kid in heart, but you can actually save yourself and go away from that, if that makes sense. So that's something that we can do at any point of time, in any situation where you don't feel comfortable. You need to protect yourself. If somebody
Right.
else to help you and be there with you, that's great. But you are responsible to actually do that. And that's very powerful. Really, it's powerful because we can take an action at any point of time. It won't heal things, it will protect you, though. And that's what we can do with self regulation.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Kayla asks, how do you deal with trauma when you live with someone who has caused the trauma?
Well, let me start by this, and I'm inviting people to think about it in a broader way. The choices so many times that we make to be with somebody, we might realize that they're actually causing the trauma that we never had. But if you are touched and you're not getting away from that person that's causing the trauma, because somebody, let's say that you're healthy and you get to know somebody and they cause a trauma, you will go away. You just won't stay there. You won't even have to ask anybody. So many of us, because of the early trauma, understand that, but we caught in it and stay in it. You know, that comes from our early trauma. What I'm trying to say is that I'm not blaming the person that caused you the trauma right now in the relationship, but you would stay away from them and you will say, that doesn't work. Or they will have to go and take, if you love them and think that they can heal, and everybody can heal, by the way, and want to give it a chance, the right thing to do is to go help both you and them in different ways. Like if you stay in somebody with trauma or even chose something like that, unconsciously we're not aware of why, how can it did I ended up with somebody that there was something that you missed. Because so many times our early trauma get us to miss cues about people that we overlook when we are with them. And then we think that they cause us the trauma, that they are the one to blame the trauma. Now, they might reopen the trauma and repeated the trauma in a very different way that you might think. So what happens is that you might go to a person that you all of a sudden think that you experience from them a very new trauma. Okay? Many times that very new trauma is related to another trauma that we had, but we thought that this person is safe and it's not. Now, Usually it's like, magnets. It's either go that side or going completely the other side. We are attracted to us what is familiar, even if it comes from a very different door. Then again, it's not blaming anyone or saying like because that he caused you the trauma, then it's your fault. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that we want to ask ourselves and to really look deeper inside of things that we overlook, why we chose what we chose. Because organically, you'll see if you guys gradually changing inside, literally from the inside out, your choices of who you choose to be with will be very different. So for the person who experienced the trauma right now that is asking the question, thank you for the question. It's a great question. First of all, what you want to do is that do you want to stay with that trauma? Because unless they are doing something to change that, it's not going to happen. And it's not for you to change it, nor would you be able to do that. That's not your role to do that. That's your partner. You cannot be there for your partner as you can be a good influence and can that, but you cannot heal their trauma. This is not your role, nor would it be fair for you because you won't get from them what you need. Obviously, they're hurting you. So ask yourself, why are you there with them? And if you say like I love them and I want them, there's other parts of them there's really love and they have trauma, they will have to go and heal their own trauma. You know, not you, but I have to do something like I'm talking about the therapy, a very in-depth early trauma therapist, not left brain chase, do this or do that. That will change nothing. It will keep repeating. And then within the process of actually both of you being in therapist, gradually the relationship between you will gradually look different. Not easy, but you'll grow together. So you have to see what you have to work with and whether you want to work with this person and whether it's actually have hope. Now, hope always exists if the other person take responsibility for an understanding and have an introspection to understand that they have part of it and they want to heal that. If they don't, nothing will change. No matter what you'll do and no matter how much they will try and tell you they'll try to be different and they won't do it again, they will do it again. And it's not because they're bad, it's because the trauma is stronger than anything else. And once again, when you have people that are in relationship, we do have traumas and it can heal. You don't have to leave. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. And sometimes you don't. You can work it out together. But each and one of you need to have their own therapist and their own way to heal the wounds so the past won't come to your relationship. We so many times think that if we're going to different relationship and think that's going to be so much different, just to happen the same thing that happened to us before, or even seems like new one, and we caught up in that, we're repeating the trauma that it has to us in that way or another. Now, it can change if both people are taking care vertically of their own wounds and they won't carry the wounds into the relationship.
Thank you, Warren. So King says when a couple has early trauma and or PTSD, what are ways they can uh, do to be there for each other? Yeah. So when they have that trauma and
Very good
then
question.
right,
Very,
yes,
very good
kind of the
question.
next step, right?
The next step to do for each other is to be actually as calm as you can to listen to each other rather to tell each other what to do or to try to change the other one, but to try to understand with them and let them be and start opening it up why they react that way. Because if you understand what happened to them and what happened to them in early childhood, why they react, and they start talking about it without you trying to force it to change it, all that, then you can have compassion to them. When you have compassion to them, they can actually start bringing the trauma out to you and talk about it, and you can guys be together with that, with kindness and love. That's all that needs. We so many times try so hard rather than just actually listen with our heart. Just listen, you know. Let's say and more listen, really listen. And I'm not talking about listen with the ears. I'm talking about really listen with the heart. Guys, if you see anyone that you see, let's say on TV and say, oh my God, this is a killer, this is a thief. If you just, and they did a horrible thing, right? I'm not justifying the action. But if you just look a little bit deeper and look at what happened to them, you understand and you have compassion. The compassion is healing. So when you talk about a couple you're a couple, both of you had trauma. If you provide safety to each other, to just be. What I recommend to couples is so many times just sit once a week, if you can more, for 1 hour, half an hour, however you can. I know we're all busy, but if you want to put your money in something, so to speak, you just take an hour, divide it to two. 30 minutes you talk, and the other one is listening, only listening, without trying to change, without trying to do anything. Just try to listen to what's underneath that reaction. Now, when you do that way, you do, it's like, because you're doing that way, and like, let's say that there's a couple, he and she, you're right, and she's telling, he's the listening position, and she's talking, and she's like, you're doing this and this, and then he needs to absorb that. That won't go anywhere, because it's like, my God, my goodness, is you're getting attacked. But if he's invited to talk, or she's invited to talk about her reaction, and if it reminds her something that right now triggered something that sounds familiar, and she start talking about the experience, it will take away the person that is attacked from the spot. You'll know it's not about you. Now you understand where it comes from. You'll be able to have compassion to her, and vice versa. This is how things heal. If you can do that, you will see results very instantly. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to heal in one time. Then again, remember, it's a sum of experience that you had all your life. But if you can go to that non-judgmental zone where you can actually explore, why am I reacting that way right now? What does it trigger? What is remind? Then the other person who listens can be more compassionate, because they're not getting attacked. Now, we can't have compassion to somebody who's hurting us right now. It's just not possible, nor should you have that. You need to protect yourself at the point. Somebody comes to attack to you. I'm a therapist. If somebody, people say to me things, they bring me to me things, and I can hold it. But if I would feel threatened, there's no way I could feel empathy to anyone. I'm a person, so I need to be safe in order to have empathy. All of you need to be safe in order to be help empathy. Whether it's couple, whether it's with your kids. If right now your kid is just like tearing you apart and you can't that, go to the other side. Let somebody else will take care of them, and just don't attend to them, because you know you're going to hurt them. Attend to them in a different way when you're capable. So it's all about kind of regulating yourself sometimes when you're talking to others, and see, can I talk to them right now or not? Couples so many times try to resolve things forcefully, try to argue, and it never goes anywhere because nobody listens to anyone. And I usually tell people, don't argue when you're angry. Find time where you're both calm and can listen to each other. You see that the issue will be resolved in 2 seconds, and you can actually be with each other. That creates the neuroplasticity in a good way, rather than reopen the trauma, or creating the same cycle. Yes.
Thank you, Oren. We'll have one more time for one more question. So it's Trudy. It is also very triggering when someone tells us to drop our guard and trust. Help us to understand it. Thank you.
Thank you, Trudy, for this question. It's a beautiful question. When I start therapy with somebody and I tell them, what we're going to do, and about trust is really important. Trust is not either or. Trust is something that develops, and it can break. And it doesn't mean that if it breaks, it needs to go all the way to zero. Sometimes it breaks and goes the way all to the trauma that says like, oh, I knew I should not trust. Trust breaks. The importance of trust broken is to actually mend it and to build upon it. Sometimes the break and mending it, fracture and repair, are making the relationship way stronger, because fractures happen. If we try to avoid fracture, we're just not going to be in relationship. So it's not about that. Now, you're absolutely right. You cannot say somebody to trust. So when I start with somebody, I say, I don't expect you to trust me. I don't even know you too. So my trust in you, that doesn't mean that, I will be that at the beginning the way I am in a year from now. When we dated somebody from the first time, we bought all our, gear up and kind of that. It was just one part of us. Later on, as we get into a relationship, other parts are coming to the picture that you didn't see before. So it's something that builds. It's understandable. Now, we can't say to somebody to trust it. Trust is something to be gained, and it's something to experience, and it will develop. And if it's not possible because of somebody else, is not, you can see that a repetitive thing, then you won't trust them. And nobody can tell you or should tell you to trust ever. Or don't believe. If they tell you, I don't like the word should anyway. Somebody, you should trust that. It's like, no, I shouldn't. I will trust it if I trust it. If the trust is gained gradually, then it will be there. And it can be fractured and can be repaired, but it's not something that anybody can tell you, oh, trust me, that works. you know it's about them trying to put their will on you, rather than actually somebody that would actually comes from the inside out won't tell you that. It will just be them, and then they will allow you to trust or not, and to develop that trust within time and experiences. And the experiences of trust will be back and forth and back and forth. And sometimes you'll see something trustworthy about the person in this way, and but not in other areas. It's very complex, but it's not something that anyone can tell you to do or not do. It's something to be gained if it's there.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent, Oren. Thank you so much. Now we are wrapping up. Is there a last message that you want to share with everyone for tonight?
I just want people to put their hands on their chest right now with me and tell yourself that you're not less important than anyone else in the world. And I invite you to be kind to yourself, to your own self, as much as you may want to be for others, not less. And first and foremost for you. And just be there for yourself and treat yourself with respect, the way you might treat others. Because if you do that for yourself, you will do that automatically to others, and the whole will be much better. And I want to wish you all love. Love is all over at all time. We sometimes don't see it because we're kind of caught in our world. So I just want to kind of send you a lot of kindness and love. And hopefully what you got today is that love that I want to send to you guys, not judgment, and not saying anyone is wrong or fault. We all got it in that way or another. We all got scarred, some of us more or less. But love is always there, and there's always loving people there that you can connect. Choose wisely who you connect to. And remember that co-regulation doesn't mean that you need to reach to anyone. Try to have with your gut, not only sometimes what you think you need, but try to feel, is that person, what kind of aura they have, what kind of vibration they emit, and start with that, and tap into that loving energy that is all around us. We just might sometimes not see that, but it's there, promise you. And that will permeate to everyone, rather than going at each other and say you this and you that. Start with yourself. Start with loving yourself, giving yourself a break. Be kind to yourself. See how you judge so many times yourself as much as you judge others. It's not something bad. We all do that because if we were judged, we're going to judge others, even if we said we don't judge. And so that means if we judge others, we judge ourselves. It starts with you. Starts with you. Be kind to yourself. You weren't born judgmental. You weren't born saying would say what's good and what's bad, that you fault and you have a problem. We're all good, really. We just need to be kind to each other. So I want to send kindness to everyone. And thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much, Oren. And thank you for being here today with us as well.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you, and I wish you a good night's sleep or a happy morning, and take this loving energy to you and tell it like, I'm okay. And I will be there for myself and others as much as I can, but always me first, not abandoning myself. Thank you. And I wish to see you in the next event. I think we're talking about the fear, right, Rob? That's the next event is going to be
That
about
that's for
fear.
December. So
That
I'll
is for December.
actually, yeah, I'll actually cue it up here for everyone. But we're going to be talking about the healing power of self-compassion. So that's
So we actually
perfect.
ended this
Yes,
session with that kind of tone.
yes.
So in the next session, we'll talk about the self-compassion, which I know people heard about that, but
Mhm.
it's so hard when you have so much trauma inside. So we will talk more about how to actually be self-compassion to yourself when you had so much trauma that were not compassion to you, and you bring that trauma to you, so you treat yourself the way they treated you. So we will talk about that a little bit more in depth. It's very important. So you're all invited, and invite whoever you think that can actually soak this energy. Welcome. And thank you
Excellent.
so much for coming. I appreciate you and appreciate Rob, and thank you all.
Absolutely. So, as Oren said, we are going to, in November 18th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, We are going to talk about the healing power of self compassion, personal and relational transformation. And this is free again. So you can look it up on Eventbrite, just like you got the link here today, and or Facebook, wherever you want to actually get your information about Oren Raz. We also have links in the chat there if you want to check out any social media about him as well. But you can also scan this QR code. All of you will also be getting a video sent to you from YouTube that is this actual conversation from tonight. So that's great as well. And as you know, we are on all of these different platforms. So please check Oren out. And if you have any questions, reach out to him. I'm sure he will love to hear about what your question is, and we can respond accordingly. All right. So thank you so much for being here. Again, sending love to you and a reminder to love ourselves as well. So thank you, Oren, for that. Take care. Good night, and we'll see you next time.